Man, oh man, I had to cover this story because the hypocrisy is real. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the controversy surrounding the rapper by the name of DaBaby as it relates to some quote-unquote anti-LGBT comments that he made in conjunction with some HIV/AIDS comments. Now, this story I got to cover because it really gets down to the core of social justice initiatives, LGBT and Black community, how they intersect and how they don't intersect. A lot of things are going to be covered in this video, but before I get down into the rabbit hole, I got to back up a little bit here to explain what's going on, just so we're on the same page with each other. Now, DaBaby, like I said, is a rapper, very well known, very popular, has songs with some of the biggest stars of our time, like Lil Baby and Meg Thee Stallion, some real classic people, right? Big rap star. A lot of his music is not family friendly. It's a lot of cussing going on. It's a lot of drugs and violence going on. I won't say it's really a gangster rapper per se, but it's like take a pop star and then mix in some just crude rap lyrics and you have DaBaby, okay? And as a matter of fact, to illustrate kind of what I'm talking about, DaBaby has videos with him carrying guns. And when he first came out, he had on a big diaper in the video. So that kind of tells you where we at. Just kind of a weird mix of some stuff. Anyway, he is getting ready to perform at a concert. I'm not sure if it was Rolling Loud or whatever it was. But before his performance or sometime during the performance, like during a little break or whatever, he was giving shout outs. Shout out to this group, that group, you know, shout out to women and then shout out to men who are not engaging in homosexual activities. And then he shouted out people that don't have these crazy, like, life-ending or life-altering diseases like HIV/AIDS or whatever. Now, the media and those that want to attack anyone who may say a thing that could be considered anti-LGBT, they said that DaBaby linked the LGBT community to HIV/AIDS, although he made two statements that were not said at the same time. But since they were close to each other as far as, you know, the time that he said it, then they said, okay, you're trying to put LGBT in the same box with HIV/AIDS and you're speaking about us negatively, and now you got to apologize. He's apologized not once, but twice, but it's not enough. He's been dropped by a lot of different concerts. Lollapalooza, I think they dropped him, which is hilarious because, you know, that right there, to pause on this for a moment and then I'm going to continue. Lollapalooza is just a big hypocrisy fest. Okay, you have the event happening in Chicago and they're talking about lockdowns and the variants and all this and that and the third. Meanwhile, you have this event that's packed from the window to the wall, and I'll place pictures on the screen before you. Oh, it's outside, ABL. Well, they're packed like sardines outside. They're packed so tightly, people were, you know, passing out from exhaustion. They're not able to get food and water. A lot of people in there. Regardless of virus, it's not necessarily the best place to be. People are getting crushed. It's a mess. But anyway, it's happening in Chicago. I think they have lockdowns now after this gigantic event with thousands of people. Anyway, it was a clothing brand called Boohoo. I don't make the names up. I'm just reporting the news. They dropped him. He's been dropped by quite a few people. A lot of celebrities come out against him. I think Elton John said something about this, so it got pretty big. Madonna said something. Questlove from The Roots, he said something. It was really childish because what Questlove did, he had this list of acts he wanted to have at his next fest out there in Philly. A bunch of names are on it. DaBaby's name was on there, and then he crossed it out. We're on this whole big blog post soliloquy type thing talking about, oh, we're not here for this. This is disgusting, all this and that and the third. So effectively, DaBaby has been canceled. But one point that I've seen a lot on the Twitters, which is pretty obvious to anybody that's kind of paying attention, is you can say whatever you want to say about killing Black people, shooting, robbing, drug dealing, whatever. You could say whatever you want to say about assaulting women, beating up. You could say all of that and it's fine. And as a matter of fact, the majority of artists at a concert like Rolling Loud, Lollapalooza, they'll say the most vile, disgusting, and egregious lyrics. However, when you say something about LGBT and it's not favorable, people get offended. Now they want to cancel you. Oh, but you are not canceled for saying all these anti-black things, right? This anti-life stuff. But at the same time, those same people who will book a guy like DaBaby, regardless of his lyrics, all the violent stuff, they'll say Black Lives Matter. Okay, Black Lives Matter, but in his music, he's talking about killing black people. Not just DaBaby, because like I say, he's kind of a pop mix. A lot of guys have straight kill, murder, drug music, and that's totally fine. Black Lives Matter, but that's okay. But when it comes to LGBT, now you got to apologize. Now you got to kiss everybody's hind parts in Hollywood and music industry. Okay, I see how that works. We've seen this time and time again. We saw it with the rapper by the name of YG. Remember the whole thing about the anti-Asian stuff? Remember the whole thing, Stop Asian Hate? How long did that last? About 2 weeks on social media, and that was it. But anyway, right during that whole thing, he has a song on the YouTubes called Meet the Flockers. And this song is a step-by-step instruction, I guess, audio manual about how to home-invade Chinese people. There's a video and everything to go with it. It's part of a documentary. Like, it's this whole big thing. Now, there was outrage because of the Stop Asian Hate. So what they ended up making him do was take the song down. He was able to put the song back up, but he had to change the lyrics. So rather than the lyrics going something like, okay, go to a Chinese house, scope it out, they took the word Chinese out, but the N word is still in there and it's no problem. It's not censored. It's not beeped out. It's not reversed. You can hear the N word in full, but the word Chinese is censored. Okay, so we can say racial slurs and that's fine. But if we're trying to target Chinese people, all of a sudden it's an issue. Oh, okay. Makes sense to me. And going back to DaBaby right quick in the comments about HIV or whatever, like I said, he made two different comments that were not said at the same time, but they were said close to the same time, if you understand what I mean. Like, it's two separate thoughts. It wasn't one thought. But anyway, what he said, if you combine it, is not even wrong to say. And let me explain. Do you know that among gay black men, 50% of them will at some point catch HIV? 50%, 1 out of 2. Now, I'm not making it up. The CDC says it. I'll link to my source in the box and I'll put it on the screen before you. Half of gay black men will catch HIV. HIV, just from a factual point of view, largely affects people that like homosexual men and IV drug users. I know my uncle was one of them and he died from it back in 1990. He was on IV drugs and he was gay. So, I mean, I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. I have CDC data. So, I mean, if he was to put it together, which he didn't, he wouldn't even be wrong. But people, I guess they were upset at the way he was saying it because it was kind of harsh. But when he's talking about shooting X, Y, and Z person or whatever, beating up X, Y, and Z person, that's okay. That's not harsh. When it comes to LGBT, we know how they operate. But I think as I close, part of this whole backlash against DaBaby is to prevent you from doing a little bit of digging and research to see what's going on with HIV, AIDS, and the LGBT community. It's a problem. It's definitely a problem. And that's why they have these medications. When I was in LA, I was watching local news out there, and a commercial for this medication came on TV called PrEP. And PrEP, I guess, is something that they use to prevent from catching HIV. And in the commercial, it was a gay male talking about whatever's going on. He was clearly gay, had makeup on and everything. I mean, so we can't act like that's not a problem in the LGBT community. We can't act like that. There's medications for it. There's PSAs talking about, you know, wear a condom for your boyfriend. I see that a lot going on. It's just simple. But if you are the music industry, you can't say certain things is going to paint certain groups in a negative light. If you want to paint your own group, if you're just a black person, you're not LGBT in the bad light, then go for it. It's all good. Meanwhile, they're going to put out Lil Nas X, and they're going to have him do children's songs first, right? Old Town Road. He'll go on Sesame Street, go to elementary schools and perform it. He'll be a child icon. And then 6 months later, here he is with pink box braids twerking on the devil. And then after that, here he is completely naked twerking in the video with a bunch of other men doing the same thing. And then on Sesame Street, the same program that he was on, or a similar program to it, you got a male character becoming a cross-dresser, putting on a evening gown. I mean, come on. The agenda is clear to see. The question is, if you are a parent, are you going to let your kids fall into it or not? But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about DaBaby's bookings being canceled because of the quote-unquote anti-LGBT lyrics? Whatever your thoughts on that are, let me know in the comments below. You guys pretty much know where I stand. If somebody happens to be gay or whatever, that's an adult, I don't care. Live your life. That's your business, not my business. Don't tell me what you do in the bedroom. I don't want to know, for real, for real. But my thing is, why get mad at facts? You can get mad at, I guess, if somebody's mean or they say things in a kind of quote-unquote hurtful way, but let's not obfuscate the facts. And if you're going to get mad at certain mean lyrics and mean takes, then that's not hypocritical. Let's look at all of it. Let's look at the violent stuff. Look at everything the same way. Don't cherry pick certain things to be upset about and then make it be this big stink. If you're going to cherry pick, then we know that a lot of this stuff, the social justice stuff, is not really real. It's all about trying to push a particular narrative, and that's it. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.